For us, it was definitely the right move, and we'll never look back.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure.
Hi, Marni and Hennie. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing very well, and you?
I am doing well, thank you. And firstly, Marni, you got to tell me, how do they pronounce your name in Australia? Am I saying it right, Marni?
Yes, that's correct, with the R. Although the English pronounce it Marni, like the boy's name in Afrikaans, Marni. So, but I'm used to it right now.
So you're like me, you react to anything that sounds vaguely similar to your name.
Yes, no, and Hennie is Hennie.
Yeah. Well, you know, honey is a good one.
Yeah, I usually have to spell it to them because I just see a confused face when I say my name.
And it's not like Wolmarans is any easier. What do the Aussies say?
Exactly.
Wolmarans? No, and unfortunately, our one son, his name is Henry, so that's also a very Afrikaans pronunciation. And then our youngest is Liam, so that's fine. But our daughter, her name is Maya, and but with a J. So in here they pronounce it Maja. So she was quite upset about that in the beginning, but I think it's better now.
She's probably considering changing the J to a Y just so that everybody can pronounce it.
Yeah, no, at tennis they call her Maya with a J, and her iPad, she also types her name with a Y. Otherwise, the iPad also recognizes it as Maja. So, but yeah, little struggles.
Oh, that's right. You got to love these little quirks that come along with migrating and having different backgrounds. So tell me, when did you guys come to Australia?
Sorry, when?
When? Yeah, when did you arrive in Australia?
So we arrived in April 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was still back when we had to do quarantine before we can get out, and so straight into a hotel. Luckily, a good view. The Hyatt Hotel in Perth, so we had a good view of the foreshore and Swan River. But yeah, 2 weeks, 3 children locked in a room. Yeah, and no one touches anything. I mean, we had to carry all our own cases from the bus into the bus, and we had lots of them, about 13 cases without hand luggage. So no one helped with anything. It was just yeah, it was a lot of work, and getting everything into the hotel, getting it all out. There's a lot of work and sweat, but yeah, it's COVID.
Managing 3 kids or 13 pieces of luggage?
The kids were tired, I guess, by then, so they weren't too bad.
I can tell you, as you know, Marni, I've got 4 little ones, and sometimes it's easier to work and to do that than managing the 4 kids, because you cannot, with children, you cannot switch them off. You cannot.
No, definitely not.
Switch off your computer, or you can walk away from something. So it's
no, they were actually they did quite well. We had a nice big room, a lot of space. So he locked himself in the main bedroom and worked during the 2-week period we had to quarantine. And the kids and myself, we played and watched movies, and we had quite a big lounge area where we, where they could play. And I just pitied the neighbors around us because they were running and jumping on the couches, and it was crazy, throwing each other with teddy bears and stuff. So, but it was fun and games.
Well, you made it through the 2 weeks, and then you saw the outside of, well, Perth's inside, or the outside of the hotel. How did that first meeting with Australia happen for you guys?
It was actually quite funny. We didn't have a good first impression of Australian people, as we one of Hennie's ex-colleagues came to collect us from the hotel after we could leave quarantine, and we checked into our first Airbnb. It was about 7 at night. and we
But it was dark already because it's winter.
yeah, it was, yeah. So stopped there with the trailer with all our baggage, and immediately a gentleman came out of his house, and what did he say again?
Yeah, he complained. I can't remember his exact words, but he complained. He says, "Are you guys almost done? Because my son is sleeping already, and you keeping him awake."
So that was 7. So we didn't have a very good first impression, but after that, we realized that the Australians are very empathetic, and they want to assist and help you with whatever you need help with. So it was a bad first impression, but good recovery after that.
Yeah, first day, and ever since nothing like
No
that.
issues, no.
That's great to hear. And tell us a little bit about your visa that you came in. Did you come in on a sponsored job then, I assume, Hennie?
Yeah, so in the beginning they wanted to do a temporary visa, so it was a sponsor. We tried all different routes, so that's why it took us so long to get here. We tried all different ones, the normal one where they send you the invite, 189, I think, and then that was said to going to take about 2 years. So we tried the state nomination one, and that route closed because the skills on the shortage list kept changing. Eventually, we kind of didn't have a choice but to come on a sponsored visa. And the employee firstly wanted to bring us over on temp visa because it's quicker to get here. But in the end, it also has all its cons financially, and yeah, the only positive, I guess, was how quick it is. In the end, we decided we need to come over on the PR rather than paying twice. So the employer was willing to do that. So yeah, we got our PR in February 2021.
Yeah, on his birthday, 2021, they phoned him, and it was a very nice birthday gift. Our visa was approved, but it actually went, borders closed end of March 2020, and then everything was on hold. And then in November, they opened up for, I think it was a 20 occupation list, the critical shortage list, and luckily his skills code was on that list. So the agent phoned us and said, okay, listen, let's do this. And we lodged, I think, 14 December 2020, and 10 February it was approved. So in the end, it actually went, because of COVID, it went a lot quicker than it would have gone pre or post COVID.
Yeah. So what is your skill set then, Hennie? What do you do?
Develop programming, software development.
Okay, that's great. And at the moment, you're working from home, or do you work in the office mostly, or how is your?
No, mostly in the office. I only work from home on Wednesdays.
And is that because they decided that anybody can pick a day to work from home, or what's that kind of?
No, that's the norm. So pretty much the whole office works from home on Wednesdays, so that everyone's in the office. If you need to talk to someone, or it's just easier to communicate when you're sitting close to each other than over computers, I guess. And
they're not really client facing. He works for, it's actually a very interesting story. The company that brought us over, they've been here 20 years, around about 20 years, 25 years, also suffers, but their kids were raised here, and they are proper Aussies, but they came over, started a financial advising company, and Lindsay, the one director, created software because there wasn't any software on the market that suited their needs for their financial firm. And she created their own software, and that software has developed so much that they started a financial software company separate from the financial. So that's why they brought him over. So they basically run 2 different companies from within one office. So he works for the software section, and then they have the financial section as well.
Okay, all right, that makes a lot of sense. So she's South African, you said?
Yes, they are South African, but they've, like I said, they've been here 20-25 years.
Yeah, so the kids were raised here, so I guess they're more Australian than they are South African. The kids are basically running this company. They're not kids anymore. They
Our age and older.
yeah.
So how did you get in touch with them? How did you get your job initially, Hennie? Did you know them from or through somebody else?
No,
Pure
so
luck, pure luck.
no, so the CEO for the company at that point was my CIO at my previous company in South Africa, or at the company I was still working at. So he was looking for a developer, and he contacted me and asked if I knew about someone. And yeah, at that point I said no, I don't. But eventually we decided we want to take the offer.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he knew me. He knew me from back in South Africa, and that's how I was contacted.
So what made you decide to move to Australia, or want to move to Australia in the first instance? When did you guys start talking or thinking about it?
Well, a few years ago, we thought maybe, immigration, obviously it's in the back of a lot of people's minds in South Africa, but not everyone has the opportunity. So we thought countries that has easy access. So we thought maybe New Zealand, it's easier to get a visa to enter New Zealand. But after a lot of research, and we decided that Australia will be a better fit weather-wise, specifically weather-wise. Obviously for the fact that we have 3 children, you at this stage in South Africa, your children need to go to university in order to have a successful future. And that will likely not be possible. Not that I'm a doomsday prophet, but that will likely not be possible in 10, 15 years. So, and if they go to university, they will probably leave the country to pursue careers in other countries and then leave us behind. So we had to make the hard decision, leaving family behind, or let our children, go into the world when we are older and not, we don't have the opportunities to go with them. So I think at the end of the day, we mostly did it for the children, the immigration, but now we are having more fun than the kids. So.
I follow you on Facebook, and there's not a weekend that goes by that you guys are not out and about somewhere exploring some kind of corner of WA.
There's so much to do and so much to see. It's just totally different to where we were from. I mean, South Africa, you're very limited, and yeah, you don't feel safe doing everything. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can sit fishing, do fishing 10 o'clock at night alone on the beach and not think about any danger or feel unsafe at all. Yeah, it's just so much to do.
And tell us a little bit about your children. How old are they, and how did they find the move?
Maya's currently, they are 10. Maya's 10, Henry's 8, and Liam's 5. So when we came over, Liam was 3, didn't speak a word of English. Henry was 6 and Maya was 8. I think Maya struggled the most with the change. She's very dependent on friendships. And when we came over, she had to obviously start from scratch to make friends. And in the beginning, everyone accepted her with open arms, and she felt right at home. But as soon as she wasn't the new kid anymore, the dynamic started changing, and she had to establish her own role within the class and within her year and within teams and all that. So she struggled a bit with that last year especially. So we've been here almost 2 years. So I think that as soon as the honeymoon phase passed for her, she struggled emotionally. But it's a lot better this year. She's made good friends now, and she's happier, and The other two hasn't really struggled at all with friends, and Liam, his English picked up tremendously in a very short span last year. In the beginning, he went to school, to kindy last year, and he didn't have a vast English knowledge or vocabulary, and it has, yeah, he picked up a lot of stuff last year.
Yeah, the kids already sound like Aussies.
I just wanted to say they're probably not having any accents. Yeah, South African accents anymore.
Luckily
yeah,
not.
they're struggling to speak Afrikaans. Well, we still speak Afrikaans in the house, but they kind of now converting or translating from English to Afrikaans rather than the other way around. So the main language, I guess, now is English.
Very, very interesting. Are they in public or private school?
All three of them in public school. We live in a very nice area in Perth, about north of Perth, 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the beach, but not too close to the beach. So very suburban area. And the primary school in Edgewater is wonderful. They have a good rating on the system, on the Australian rankings. So we were quite happy to enroll them in Edgewater Primary. And it's a small little school, but they are having a blast. The teachers are extremely nice. So everyone assisted us also with this change, and, you know, incorporated the kids and went the extra mile to make it easier for them as well.
So Liam is in prep this year, is he?
Yeah, pre-primary, yes.
Yeah, they call it all the different things around Australia. But yes, pre-primary. And Marni, you now have nobody at home to look after during the day. How does it feel?
My mother's currently visiting from South Africa. So she's going home the 7th of March. So after that, I will be totally home alone. Then I will find out what it feels like to be home alone. I haven't been home alone since Maya was born, because I had my own business in South Africa since her birth, and all the way Liam only went to school twice a week before we came over. So I've been having someone with me the whole time. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
What was your business in South Africa?
I did, it's a sensory product.
Oh, yeah.
Like a sensory mat puzzle that they, what's the term?
Yeah, it's like mats you can put together.
Yeah, like a puzzle that they interconnect the pieces, and each mat's a different texture and a different color. And then I also had personalized bottle bands for the kids in school, where their name gets engraved. So I still have that business in South Africa. And I'm not going to do the bands here, but my stock is lying here in boxes. I need to stop procrastinating and actually, you know, get out there and pursue the business. My business name is Silly.
That for us.
So I'm as soon as everyone is at school and my mother went home, then I'll have a lot of time. Then I need to get my ducks in a row and sort that out.
So you do have a website?
Yes, I do.
So please give us the website so people can go and have a look.
So for Australia, my website is www.sillysmart, silly with an I, sillysmart.com.au. And they can go and have a look there. There's a lot of interesting articles, the benefits of the product, and
South Africa.
And the South Africa is just silly.co.za.
Okay. Yeah, well, I know in Australia, and having children the same ages as what you have, we value those kind of toys that our kids interact with so much, because the learning that they get out of playing with things, that's really important. It needs to be something that they enjoy being with, and then learn while they're doing it at the same time is great.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's great that you have that. And yes, now that you have time, you can actually start enjoying the life of Australian entrepreneurship, because there is so much support in Australia for people who want to venture and start their own business.
Yes.
That's one of the wonderful things that I found here. I have changed career many times in my life. And I don't think, and that's been in Australia. I don't think I would have been able to do the same thing in South Africa. And it's very common for Australians to change careers around 40 or 50, actually. People do change careers, which is interesting. Now, tell me about your settling in and finding friends, and how have you guys been going with that?
Yeah, I think that was a very important part for us. And one of the, leaving the friends behind was difficult. So we decided we need to make friends as soon as possible when we get here. So I'm not the social one. Marni is more the social one. So she's made most of the friends. But I guess most of the friends we've made so far is from church. But yeah, we've also made 2 or 3 other couples. She met them through Facebook. I think mostly Facebook. But yeah, we've made quite a lot of friends, and we've made good friends, and we're camping together, and we
go to the beach together, and once a week we see each other, once every 2 weeks, and making the effort, because everyone needs that friendship. So we have that commonality with all Safas. They all feel out of place, so everyone sort of grouped together just to have their own little spot in the sun. So that really helped pulling people together, and church has made a big difference. The community, not only for the community in our church, it's an Afrikaans church, but they do have an English service as well. But the people has made a big change in how we experience Australia. They made us feel at home immediately, and pulled us into their activities and come camping with us, and let's do this and come do this, and very nice. But we have actually in the beginning we made it a priority to create a home as soon as possible. So within 2 weeks we had all our furniture, the whole house was set up. Worked till late hours in the evening to get everything arranged, and so we stayed in 2 Airbnbs, and then when we secured this rental, 2 weeks we had everything settled, and then we started settling in, and that has helped us tremendously in making the change easier for us. Instead of doing it at a slow pace, we came over, did everything, and settled in.
Making the friends, I think, was a really important part.
Definitely.
We've seen quite a few people that are unhappy, who wants to go back or has gone back, and it seems to be the trend. It seems like the people who hasn't made good friends or put in the effort or whatever, and they don't have good friends, those seems to be the people that goes back.
They are the most unhappy in Australia.
Well, if you're lonely, I can totally understand it, that you would feel that way. And unfortunately, what happens most often is that the husband goes to work and the wife stays at home, and she just sits on Facebook and looks at everybody back at home and how they're enjoying themselves. And and then it's just a really sad, bad circle of events that happen, and it snowballs. So I always say to people, you have to get out there and meet people, because people are not going to know that you're here if you don't tell them. You need to actually go out and say, hi, this is my name, we've just moved here. Essentially, would you like to be friends? It's like speed dating.
And it's a very brave move to do that, because it's to make yourself vulnerable like that and put yourself out there. It's extremely brave and a very difficult thing to do, totally out of everyone's comfort zones. But you have to do it. That's like one of the top things, number one things you have to do when you get here is you need to go out of your comfort zone and get to know people and create your own circle, a new circle.
Yes, absolutely. Especially for South Africans, we're so proud. We don't want to rely on anybody else for our fortune. It's like, well, if you move overseas, you might have to think about it differently because we need each other. We need to support each other.
No, definitely. You
And
need that community.
How did the kids settle in with the schoolwork? Was there much of a change for them?
I think the first, I mean, Marni works close with that, but from what I've seen, I think the first 3 to 6 months they've done well. So like she said previously, they've done well because they were new in school, and then it kind of the new was gone, and I think for 9 months to a year after that, they've struggled a bit. I would say
Schoolwork.
Yeah, no, not school. Well, sorry,
She's
not schoolwork specifically.
About
okay, not schoolwork specifically. Okay, you can talk more.
Schoolwork.
No, the schoolwork, I would say my kids are quite average. So I'm not pushing them to be the best they can be, as long as they enjoy it and, they pass. That's fine for us. For now.
With the whole change in language and all that, I guess you can't expect much more now.
So we'll start pushing when they're a bit older for academic performance or whatever. But schoolwork here is quite different from South Africa. We came over, I mean, I had to homeschool the kids for 6 months before we came over, and it was crazy hectic. The school, the primary school they were in South Africa, they followed the government syllabus, as well as they had their own syllabus created because they felt the government syllabus wasn't on standard. So we had to run them in conjunction, and I was mentally, you can ask him, it was crazy. It was really crazy. So when we came over to Australia, it was amazing. No homework or barely any homework, which was amazing. The kids enjoyed the school. The work wasn't too hard for them, too difficult.
The mindset's also a bit different, where I think we were used to, if your kid falls behind, or you kind of have to sort it out.
Pick up the pace at home and do extra work with them and stuff. For Maya, I went to a school and a parent-teacher night, and I paged through a maths book and I saw she needed a bit of assistance. So I went to the teacher and I said to her, listen, just tell me where I need to play catch up at home in terms of her math work. She said, no, don't worry, that's my job at school. So that to me was like, what? Are you serious? It was totally different from South Africa, the mindset of the teachers here. So I think we don't even know what's going on in school really, because the teachers don't ever, we get their report cards at the end of each semester, but other than that, they've been doing quite well.
That's awesome. Yeah, and especially in a new country and all the other changes that go along with it. That's amazing to hear. And how comforting to know that the teacher has your kids' education at heart.
Exactly. That was a very big enlightened me, that specific moment. That was one of the ticks of, we did the right thing to come here. Completely different approach to education than in South Africa.
And Hennie, how have you found the work culture in Australia versus the work culture in South Africa so far?
So I guess it's different everywhere in Australia. Perth is fairly laid back, I've heard.
Cape Town, tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, it depends on the company also. So like I said, I'm working for a company which is majority is South Africans. So I guess, well, South us. But yeah, the culture is not nearly as
driven.
as much pressure as we have in South Africa. That was something to get used to. And yeah, you work your normal hours. It's very rare that you work overtime, where that's kind of the norm in my industry in South Africa. So yeah, culture-wise, very, very relaxed. It's more, the work-life balance is way better than what we used to. And I guess you kind of need that here, because you have a lot more to do in the house, around the house. Can't be working the hours you're working in South Africa. But yeah, it's very laid back. Takes some getting used to.
What would you say to somebody who's considering making the move to Australia, thinking, oh, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I?
For us, it was definitely the right move, and we'll never look back. It depends on your mindset. We came with the right mindset. We knew it's not going to be perfect from day one, and everything is not just going to be handed to us. We made it work, and we absolutely love it here. But if you're not coming with the right mindset, then it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And I love following your journey on Facebook, all the beautiful photos. You should become a travel blogger, Marni, because it's just so gorgeous.
Well, then we'll have to travel more, and I don't know if they will be happy with any working remotely all the time.
Well, Hennie is in IT, you know, you can actually do some stuff over the internet.
No, I would love that. We've met so many couples on our on camping trips that's been doing the loop, the Australian loop, and you know, a sabbatical, 12-month sabbatical from work, and I'm like, how can you do that? But that's definitely something we would like to do one day.
We did the loop with our 4 kids in tow 2 years back, and we absolutely loved it. We took 4 months off. Well, I actually continued working because I couldn't work just with internet. Yeah. My husband had long service leave, so we took off, and our youngest was 1 and our oldest was, I think, 7. With the 4 kids, and it was a ball. I'll think back to those days, and I'm just so glad that we took the opportunity, or we made it happen.
Yes.
So if you ever have that opportunity, or start planning for it now, and go and watch a guy called Trip in a Van. They're a great Australian bloggers. If you're not watching them yet. They're great to watch. So are we looking forward to hearing when that next adventure starts? Thanks, guys, for sharing your story. It was lovely, and it will definitely inspire others to come and make the move as well.
Thank you so much for the platform you give to people to share their stories and bring some hope as well to other couples.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Okay. Bye.